Mr. Speaker.
I call Parmjit Pamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to take this call to support the Housing Legislation Amendment Bill in its third reading. Mr. Speaker, on this side, we know that housing affordability and availability can be addressed by increasing the supply. Mr. Speaker, we don't want SHAs that are already listed to lapse because that will create a big lag, and we don't want to create a big lag in housing supply. Mr. Speaker, as the Nationalist MP based in Mount Roskill, my interest is in Auckland, and just in Auckland, 154 SHAs have been established. And Mr. Speaker, the member who spoke before me counted the number of houses that have been built in these 3 years. And Mr. Speaker, it's not just about the number of houses which have completed. We have to look at the full picture. It's creation of sections, it's planning, resource consent. It's about the infrastructure that goes with building houses. So we need to look at that full picture, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to give some numbers here. Yes, on 30th of June, 1,342 homes had been completed. There were 2,208 building consents approved and 6,731 resource consents for sections approved. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at the full picture. And since we started this legislation, I've heard a lot about affordability from the opposition. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to actually give some examples to clarify affordability. Let's go to 1980s, Mr. Speaker. Let's go to late 1980s and pick a house that was $300,000. Mr. Speaker, interest rate in late 1980s was 19-20%. And if one person borrowed for 30 years, Mr. Speaker, the weekly payment for that person comes to $1,100. Yes, weekly payment comes to $1,100. And if I bring you back to this time, 2016, interest rates are around 4.1 to 4.2%. We pick a house that is $1 million. Yes, we pick a house that is $1 million. We heard this value a lot in this discussion, Mr. Speaker. And if one borrows for 30 years, the weekly payment comes to $1,121, Mr. Speaker. So for a $300,000 value house, it was $1,100, and now it's for $1 million house, it's $1,121. And Mr. Speaker, on that house of $300,000, Mr. Speaker, on that house of $300,000, people were paying $1.4 million on interest. $1.4 million on interest. And this house of $1 million, people are paying $750,000 on interest. So, Mr. Speaker, you can see where the savings are. It's because of the great policies of this national government. Interest rates are low, Mr. Speaker. So affordability takes into account lots of factors, not just the income, not just the house price, but interest rates too, Mr. Speaker. And on this side, we are committed, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that there is supply of enough houses and houses are affordable. It's a great bill, Mr. Speaker. I support this bill and commend this bill to the House. Thank you.